out before. Fate has a way of playing games, and I've been keeping score. They tried to tell me I was lost with no mother when I actually was where I wanted. Bite up the venomous hand, fast as you can. Run for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life.
Welcome back, everyone. The LPL is in its final stretch before reaching playoffs. Week 8 is beginning right here, right now in the Xi'an Arena as Team WE are about to challenge the Feasible 5 of TOP in front of the hometown crowds. They got to take a bow before their fans off of a victory just last night, and now they're going to try to do the exact same thing as they return back into the player room. Already you can see getting some massages as they get ready to make sure that they're nice and relaxed in front of those hometown fans, because it is going to be an uphill battle for Team WE if they want to chase down that victory. Of course, Xie celebrating his birthday yesterday, still probably riding that high as he tries to bring down TOP, who are challenging them. And hopefully TOP will be just as relaxed in that Xi'an Arena as they make their way into the back room and get themselves nice and prepared, as you just saw Xie looking real happy. And the TOP fans still representing as well, making the trek out from Shanghai. Looks to be quite exciting. But welcome, everyone. My name is Dom, and joining me here on the desk, we've got Raz and special guest Rusty for this type of show.
G'day.
Ah,
I like that I'm a special guest. Yeah, that's great.
You're also a special guest, Raz.
Oh, only sometimes.
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, before we get into what's happening, let's get into the schedule and standings for what's going on in the LPL right now. As cross-conference has come to a close, we can take a look at how the teams have shaken out.
One thing I want to point out, of course, anyone who watched the games yesterday, LGD took down EDG. 5-8 right now, one set behind Suning Gaming, so the 4th place race in the Eastern Conference is still ready and alive. And EDG ain't looking happy. They're one set away from being sub 500. That's not looking good for them.
The Western Conference is incredibly close right now for everywhere below second, whereas the Eastern Conference, you've got 1, 2, and 3 all but solidified, with only 6 sets left for each respective team. So there basically are going to be 1, 2, and 3 there, and everyone else fighting for 4th.
Of course, we'll get the chance to see WE play today as they are still chasing down that playoff spot. It's not out of their reach just yet, but it is an uphill battle. And this is one of the teams they'll have to beat out as they challenge TOP in our first matchup at Xi'an.
Of course, people remember yesterday taking down Team Vici. Took a few times. I went to game 3, but for WE coming into today, at least they have that momentum from yesterday.
They got one.
They did.
Actually
They did.
got one. I wouldn't believe it.
Our second set, we'll be seeing FPX challenge OMG and Chengdu just a little bit later. And real quick, as a brief recap of what happened in cross-conference play, the East Conference once again proved that they are superior. A very dominant 4 weeks for them, going 30-19 over the Western Conference, though it was only 67-56 in terms of games. So lots of 2-1s, but still the big victory goes to the West.
Well, coming into this split, a lot of people wondered if the same rhythm would be riding with Rogue Warriors going to the Western Conference.
Yep.
I mean, they're picking up victories, but it's not enough to bring one team over. Eastern Conference is still a brute, especially with JD playing up the split.
Yeah, honestly, 3 powerhouses in the East are always going to carry through a bulk of the cross-conference performances. But then you've got some other teams like TOP you have to mention that are able to, take a lot through that cross-conference and really climb the ranks themselves.
Yeah, absolutely some stellar stuff for them as they have seen some success and started growing. Of course, now we get to the reason that we have Rusty here on the desk with us for this special segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite game show. Say it with me. What's that emote? You're exactly right. Guys, let's go ahead and bring out your emote paddles. Now, you'll notice that the LPL has lately been seeing a lot of emotes in our professional play. You folks at home can join in along with us as we can see those emotes on the bottom of our screen. The rules are very simple, gentlemen. I will describe to you a play. You will try to decide which emote the player drops in the play. Okay. Whoever has the most points at the win. Well, let's just say there will be a prize, and the LPL is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz.
Wait a minute.
So let's get into our first set. First up, we've got iBoy and Mako countering a gank It's level 1. They pick up First Blood. There are 2 emotes that happen, but we're going to
2.
focus on iBoy first of all. So, gentlemen, iBoy gets First Blood. What is the emote that iBoy drops?
Oh no.
It's hard because iBoy and SMLZ are the white flag enthusiasts,
Yeah, they
but I feel
are.
like he didn't use it for that one. That's early speculation.
He's a sarcastic
yeah.
human being. I can see it. So
White flag and the thumbs up. Let's go ahead and roll the clip and take a look at the emote that iBoy drops
Let's
as
go.
Mako collapses in.
So we're focusing on iBoy's one. Mako uses one as well.
Yes. And they just collapse onto it. iBoy lands the binding on that AD Morgana.
Hey, yes!
It is.
I had to double check I
The
was
white
right.
flag. Let me give that point over to Rusty there. Now in our second set, we get to see a bottom lane take a poor trade against SMLZ, and I believe Killua as well. you already know the one. Zoe in the mid lane picks up a redemption, walks down and uses the redemption bottom. SMLZ drops an emote, and Lumao drops an emote in response to the play.
No.
So we have 2 emotes on this one, and you can give them back to back. What do you think they are?
What do you think?
We're looking at SMLZ.
I can't
and
work out
Lumao.
Lumao as a personality. That man is a blank
Yeah.
slate to me, so I'm just going to be picking a random one.
Okay, we've got 2 emotes.
That one.
And
And
just a few seconds
that
left,
one.
Raz. What are you looking at? We've got a surrender flag, a thumbs up, and an angry cat. Let's
Hell
go ahead
yeah.
and play the clip. Once again, we're looking at SMLZ
cat?
and
a redemption
Lumao.
is being sent down bottom lane. I'd be an angry cat too.
And look at the trade. SMLZ and Killua, they get the good damage. Loken just walks it back. All right, we're winning the lane. And redemption.
Oh, that's not
Thumbs
SMLZ at
up.
all.
And the
Oh.
second thumbs
Oh,
up
we've
from
invaded.
Lumao.
Wait a minute. That is impossible.
We've
You didn't give
invaded.
us 2 thumbs up.
I
We
demand a
only have one
recount.
battle for each of them. But Raz, you will get that 1 point. You're now tied up with Rusty.
Demand
We'll
a
now get
recount.
into our next play for this one. Yeah, you guys are going to start throwing these emotes at each other. Maybe we shouldn't have made them paddles. The next one,
You guys
Icon
chopstick
is
one.
in the bottom lane playing against LGD. He
Okay.
sees a gank coming and drops an emote to bait it in. The gank does not succeed, and he drops a second emote afterwards. Now, what is that going to be?
So these are 2 emotes from Icon.
Icon's a man with an ego.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't drop the white flag. I reckon he just.
Let's see what it's going to be.
Because
Is it
it's
the
LGD.
salty one? Yeah.
And then what was the second one?
The second half of that is PYL then ganks onto him just a few seconds later and kills him.
2
Let's-
of these.
Yeah, let's go quick. Two Kenches. Let's go ahead and roll the clip and take a look as we've got a thumbs up and a Kench.
Yeah, you're losing, buddy. You ain't getting
I mean,
nothing.
Icon gives
I
the
get-
thumbs up to bait it.
Oh, yeah.
That's one.
I'm
Amy?
good.
Flash body slam.
Give him the kench. Give him the kench.
And that's 2.
You're
as
doing
Icon gets the second thumbs up. But wait, there's more.
Oh,
Give me the kench.
God.
Give me the kench.
It hasn't ended
Where's
yet.
the Kench?
PYL
PYL's a Kench man.
finds the opportunity
Hey!
and gets the Kench
I got it!
emote.
All right.
So that's 2 for Raz and 1 for
I
Rusty.
still get one.
Yep. And we're going to jump
We're
on
being
to
hacked.
our next one now, Mystic.
Bamboozling.
It is absolutely a bamboozling. Mystic wins a team fight off of like 10 HP, and as he gets the ace, he drops an emote on the enemy team. What is it?
Mystic.
Mystic gets an ace.
Yes. The enemy team gets aced, and he survives with about 10 HP. To add salt, to really salt the wound, what does he drop? Ooh, Happy Pengu?
Oh,
Hell
no,
yeah.
we're doing the same
Double
one.
Happy
This is the
Pengu. Let's go ahead
problem.
and roll the clip.
Ah, we should do different ones.
Hell no. I'm going to keep my lead here. You got nothing. Oh, I remember this play. I forgot which one to use.
Yeah, I don't remember this one. I got all of the ones that we did in rehearsals because I remembered them all.
Look, he's Ice Oriana.
Oh! Mystic's in the white
The
flag.
surrender
I
flag.
still got the points. I
Just
still got.
adding the salt
Did
on top
not.
of that, of course.
I have a point
And
lead. That's all that
our
matters.
final play, this one you guys should know. SMLZ sees that he's about to be dived by 3 people.
Oh,
Before they dive him, he drops an emote. What is the emote that he drops?
It's the come at me Yasuo.
Ah, well, seems like we don't have that on the paddles. If you want to represent it, I think that you'll have to show the cameras what that is.
Come on! Bring
It's
it, bro!
Leighton Hewitt. You wouldn't know it from tennis. I shouldn't make that reference. It doesn't make any sense to him. Only Australians will get what I just said.
Hayton
And with
Hewitt.
that,
Leighton.
come on, bro. Yeah.
Peyton. Come on, it's not an NFL
Is it
player.
Leighton or... Oh, okay.
So, still, to get to the
L.
points at the end, Raz, you were at 4 points. Rusty, You are at 3. So as a result of this, Raz is our winner of What's That Emote Episode 1. As
Let's
we
go.
said, sponsored by Mercedes-Benz.
Take
Our
it all.
budget really couldn't afford a car, so we've got you this picture of a car instead as he gets smacked
I'll
on the
ride it
head.
on home, and
Congratulations.
guess what? If you play Street Fighter, you would break down this car, but guess what I'm going to break it with?
Angry cat.
With your face.
Oh,
Take it.
Jesus. It's a new
Take it.
emotes. This is getting real aggressive.
I'll
on the
get my
desk.
desk.
Rusty, thank you so much
Call
for
the
joining us
police.
here. We're going to start getting into our next set of TOP versus WE, and hopefully we'll get plenty more emotes. Let's stop beating up Rusty on the desk as we're just getting him out of there. TOP versus WE, Res. Let's talk about League of Legends and not emotes.
All right, we're good. Get out of here. Get out of here.
We're going to hop straight into the lineups and see what's going on for that set as TOP are taking on Team WE. Again, it's the Feasible 5 looking for their next victory against Team WE and trying to lock down their playoff spot as Raz, you're feeling real comfy in your new car.
Yes,
Are you going to
I
bring TOP with them?
I mean, right now they're feeling fairly rich based off their performance in the cross conference, so they can afford a few. Moyu in the top lane, XX, Korn, Chocho, and Cat starting them off.
Their opponent's Team WE bringing back the same roster from yesterday, 957 Kandi, Xie, and Mystic. Trying to return back in front of the home crowd here in Xi'an.
Yeah, so this is the same roster they won with yesterday. Remember, Missing coming back as a support. That's the revolving door support position. But Mystic, here's the thing. You bring in a new support, in this split, he's been performing no matter what you bring with him. I remember when Celestial first came on the team, now 694, a lot of it has been questions on the synergy in the bottom lane. And they were rusty and, having a difficult time working alongside each other. Just as Rusty was in the last segment.
Exactly.
So, at the end of the day, it seems like no matter who they bring him, he turns into a general in the bottom lane. So, excellent performance from him thus far this split. And it seems like based off the victory yesterday, it could mean that they get some revenge in Xi'an since last time.
Oh, yeah.
The first loss they had in the split, mind you, in their new stadium was to TOP.
Well, maybe a chance for revenge, though it is going to be an uphill battle, as you said. Mystic is playing very well, but we do have to look at Team WE's decisiveness. This is what we were talking about all about yesterday.
Yes.
They can take team fights, they can set up for it correctly, but their decisiveness to close the game when they have an advantage has been absolutely absent over the course of the summer split. TOP is a team that seems to have found that initiative, that momentum.
A stat to back up your point when it comes to Team WE is that if we're looking at goal differential throughout this split, it showcases that they have more leads than not because they're ahead of the pace in comparison to FPX, OMG. They're in their own conference, but the fact that they are behind in terms of the set wins, it just showcases that every single time they end up finding themselves a lead in the early portions of the game, and the last set that they had versus Vici is a great example of that. It means that they just can't close out. Now, at least in Game 3, we saw something completely different on that one. It seems like WE are getting better and playing around Baron. Now, mind you, going up against TOP, TOP is the Baron team.
The previous Dan Gaming.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
a little bit.
scary.
I'm wiping my sweat a little bit because while they're playing in Xi'an, going up against TOP, they are getting better in a strategy or a play style that honestly TOP are just excelling at in their conference. So, going up against TOP is going to be a struggling one.
Yeah, TOP, they've been very decisive. That said, there are still a lot of questions about the champion pools for some of the players on TOP. Chocho has seemed to have found more comfort on mages. Korn in the mid lane could be an opportunity of exploit for Team WE, considering it is Kandi Xie, after all, against Korn and XX. We'll see what that's going to be as we get ready for this pick and ban, because already we're racing through. Looks like TOP decided to target the bottom lane of Mystic by taking 2 supports and that Ezreal, no surprise considering how he's been performing. And now they're also trying to secure themselves a strong jungle for XX.
It's a great challenge. Now remember, blue side means that you get to have the target bans immediately. So that means that Chocho and Cat performing bottom lane at the time means that they can actually try and punish Missing and Mystic a little bit more. Morgana, Tom Kench, Ezreal, all incredibly safe. And one thing TOP have been really strong at as of late has been having Korn succeed in his own lane and then immediately segueing that straight towards the bottom lane in a dive. So exiting, no Morgana, no Tom Kench, a big question as to whether Missing can protect Mystic in the laning phase.
And this has been the primary strategy for TOP over the past few series. If it's not Korn going for a hard carry out of the mid lane, it's a collective effort from TOP to do that. Well, already we're starting to see a Wombo combo with this Yasuo, Alistar, Gragas, though. Looks like Xie will try to pick that apart as he's taking LeBlanc into Korn's Yasuo.
So it's a good matchup for LeBlanc fairly early on, just based off the damage. Can lose out in the matchup later on when the items start packing up for the Yasuo. One thing to watch out for though is that Yasuo is actually great in 3 lanes here. So bottom lane, Chocho can pick it up. Korn can pick it up, Moyu can pick it up. And I'm suspecting that it's going to be a pick for Moyu. Remember, they're going up against Team WE, and 957 is an incredible Gnar player. Moyu is great, and actually, he always focuses on carry picks. So in this strategy, it seems like PSYY is going into this thinking and baiting out the Gnar pick here.
That's so risky considering 957 is one of the best top laners at absorbing pressure from enemy teams. He's able to very easily deny a lot of ganks and threat over time. We'll see what he ends up taking as Tristana is the ban away from Chocho, another safe AD carry along with the Ezreal Lucian. But WE will have to show something here. We're looking at the bottom lane for Mystic or the early top lane for 957.
What I would do here is you would show your AD carry. Now, the Xayah is still up and available for Mystic. He can pick up that just for the early skirmishing potential in the bottom lane, and also negate the fact that there's so much safety being taken away by TOP on their first 3 bans. So if you have Xayah Rakan, that's actually innately just safe in and of itself. So they can, you know, just say go top side and not worry about the bot lane dive. So I expect Mystic to pick it up here.
He's giving it the old hover right now. Of course, he was one of the best Xayahs in the world going into the World Semifinals just a few months ago, but that was a long time ago. And
That's a locked-in.
Ahri locked in for Korn in the mid lane. You're absolutely right that Yasuo looks like it's going to be flexed down to Chocho as Gnar is the pickup for Moyu in the top lane, but wow, old signature pick.
This is insane. So taking away the Gnar pick, putting it topside, and putting Yasuo bottom lane because they see the Xayah coming through. One thing to remember, and we'll point it out as the laning phase goes on in this game, is that Xayah's damage is heavily focused on the back half of the fight. So based off of her feathers coming back to her. Windwall eliminates that possibility if he places it properly. So major question if the Yasuo is going bottom lane or if it's going to be an Ahri bot. I would want to put the Yasuo bot. Makes it so bottom lane, maybe more the Gragas would be playing there a little bit more heavily, but the setup potential is there.
We've still got 16 seconds on the clock for those final swaps as our first Ahri of the LPL Summer Split has now been locked in for Chocho. We've been talking about him playing mages. The Swain was banned away from him by Team WE early on, and even though we have the Heimer hover, decides to pick up Ahri down into this bottom lane. Lots of mobility, lots of sustained damage over the course of the fight. Charm is an easy setup if he manages to catch that Xayah. Things could be going
Definitely
good.
a strategy that they've been practicing. You would have to, because for them to ban that much safety so heavily in the first phase, move towards an Alistar and Ahri pickup. They have the Gragas in their jungle as well, so that just means that they can pick up a lane, target it aggressively. You'd wonder if it's the bottom lane. They still have a lot of sticking power, so even with the Xayah ultimate coming across, if they were to get dived, there's not a lot there to stop them from really facing, let's say, post 6 Alistar ulti that can stick under tower for a long time. So a lot of eyes right now are in the bottom lane for TOP to see if this Ahri is there to just be passive, get to your first Luden's Echo, or just try and make some action happen post 6.
And that has been something that WE have really struggled with when they don't take control of the early game. They've really struggled turning games around from the late game without relying on the enemy team to throw a late game team fight. That's what we saw yesterday with Vici when they were able to take advantages against Team WE. And though we do commend WE for being, the phrase I always like to use is elegant losers. They're very good at playing defensively and giving away as little as possible. There's so much wombo. There's so much dive threat from TOP. It's so easy to pick someone off.
And here's the thing, they can change faces, and I'm referring to WE, because while they can lose elegantly in the past, it's been a problem recently, and changing that face to a far more aggressive look is what they have to do in backing up Xie as we move towards the crowd here in Xi'an.
TOP finally starting to find a lot more fans after seeing a successful summer split 6 and 7 right now as Chocho on this Ahri. Now this isn't the first Ahri of the major regions so far. Power of Evil has picked it up in a victory against CLG.
One thing to take note of is Ahri, one thing gating her is just her poor matchups. Takes a long time in terms of building up the damage. She has great pick potential. If she were to be placed in the mid lane in this game, really bad matchup versus the LeBlanc, just too much damage on that lane. So this case, there's a lot of safety bottom lane, just from being backed up by an extra member that can ward for you, an Alistar in this case. So if there's a gank happening by Trundle or LeBlanc, that the Ahri is going to be left alive. Post 6 should be able to farm up and of course escape these engages. So for Chocho, a lot of the worries that an Ahri would have doesn't exist here.
That Spirit Rush makes it so difficult to lock Ahri down into place as she does get those 3 dashes. You can see sudden impact, plus Electrocute, Eyeball Collection, and then of course Mana Flow for Mana Flow, which makes sense, and Gathering Storm. Chocho, something's telling me we're not expecting this to be a passive farming Ahri for the entire duration of the game. Something tells me Chocho might be looking for an assassination-style Ahri a little bit later on, though we do see him with the teleport instead of Ignite, as you said.
Gathering Storm is an interesting one just because the options that are given in that tree, not a lot of them are actually fairly good, unless you're a jungler in that regard. But for Gathering Storm, it just gives you damage, raw damage that you can benefit in the early lane, but also as the game goes on. So you're right, later on in the game, Gathering Storm, excellent. But it's not like you're getting nothing early on either. So I think that's fine. One thing to make note of is the fact that cheap shots, of course, fish for charms, you can get the extra damage based off that. Want to see if that works here. There's a ward in this bush, so XX is not going to have a good time.
Hit of this tragedy for XX as he looks for a gank. Kandi's actually down here as well, perhaps anticipating a counter gank. That's the Frozen Domain, Pillar of Filth. Chocho flashes, knock up, going on to missing. He goes low, first blood to Chocho's Ahri.
So they saw the Gragas, Dom.
They saw it.
What was their response to seeing the Gragas?
All in, right now.
Everyone go in. Ahri definitely doesn't have flash in this situation 3 minutes into the game. So, I mean, sarcasm aside, this did not make any sense. Sure, you go onto Chocho, but why are you committing so heavily? We know what the Alistar into Rakan matchup is. Whoever strikes first gets, or at least the one, will get knocked up, essentially. So Alistar comes in naturally, and it's missing in this case. That loses just because of the rash decision that made.
And you can see how dangerous that CC lock was. The headbutt pulverize and then the charm onto an immobile target. It's so easy for Chocho to land. Though again, they did expend that flash. That is going to make that lane a little bit less safe for Chocho as Kandi, he's roaming top. Moyu eats a pillar. That's a teleport coming out. Looks like Chocho's trying to get in there as Moyu's looking for 957. And the teleport's canceled and Kandi's already walking away.
Yeah, I mean, Moyu would be able to jump on app out of here. So the teleport just bought him some time. He was like, hey, you know what? Cho'Gath's not going to be able to follow up at all, and I'm going to leave anyway, so you're just going to be wasting time if you decide to chase me anyways. Good decision, using the teleport to defensively, protect your top lane. Remember that flash is gone from Ahri, and now her teleport is gone too. Another mistake in the bottom lane will actually cost the Ahri truly. So if I'm Kandi, go straight towards the bottom lane to see if you can catch anything out on Chocho.
I mean, this is a big wave building up right now. We'll absolutely keep an eye on Kandi and see if he does decide to head down there as well. So far, he's gone bottom, he's gone top. He knows Xie has got control of mid, has that LeBlanc. It's very easy to step into the minion wave and trade back, but now it's starting to get a little bit more dangerous as Korn is getting a few levels under his belt. Though we are seeing TOP react to WE's attempts to set things up very quickly and very efficiently. That was almost an immediate teleport from Chocho, and XX was already in the bottom lane for that first play.
Yeah, and it just showcases, like, at the very least, that WE wants to get those early leads, that they're fishing for them fairly aggressively. And so to your point earlier on about a team that loses elegantly, that was WE and their heights, where they are so confident with their communication while at a deficit that they know how to play through their composition. Now it seems like they rely on getting a lead because when they have a lead, they ain't finishing out a game.
Yeah.
So finding themselves in a deficit is 10 times harder in that regard. So for them, they are playing so heavily around Kandi ganking early. Right now, I guess he's ahead in CS, but it's been Gragas who's been a lot more comfortable out of the two of them.
Now, luckily, they do have some late game insurance with that Cho'Gath. I mean, nothing's really going to be able to bring his health down once you get to late game. And Mystic is on the Xayah with a Rakan paired next to it, so if it does go late and WE do find themselves behind, it's not as dire as they would want it to be.
True, and it does come down to execution, the favorite word about everybody. As I
Yeah.
say this, Kandi's about to find himself.
That's a control ward. Charm is ready, headbutt pulverize. They get the CC, and again, it's just so easy to lock down the kill. They've actually found Cat and the Ignite. Late blast cone from XX. We were just talking about how good their communication is, reacting so quickly, but either XX or Cat saying, I'll get it, no, you get it, no, I'll get it. Oh!
Maybe they couldn't even touch it. Their
Yeah.
models were so fat. Either way, that was still a good pickup onto Kandi regardless. TLP are moving as a squad and really punishing Kandi's early movements. So he went towards bottom lane, and it was his support that died. Went top lane, I'm sure you didn't really get too much. So right now, he's probably just going to start focusing on farming because right now his early movements not really helping his lane.
Yeah, they've been absolutely stymied. Here's that play again. It's just an easy crowd control lockdown. But then nobody steps up to attack the
see-
blast cone.
With the movement of Alistar in that situation, he was probably trying to hit the blast cone but was missing it. It's one of those execution points with the blast cone
Yeah.
being such a small target. You're like, well,
When you're panicking and clicking quickly.
yeah, and it's not an aggressive movement target either, so you can't just auto-click it.
Yeah.
You literally have to click it physically, and he probably just failed in that regard.
High skill ceiling.
Hey, he's a support.
Taking those blast cones.
All right, he doesn't
Yeah.
last hit in lane.
It's
that's a
tough. It's real
call.
tough. Oh, that's the rupture. 957. He's holding his own in this top lane right now. That Gnar is a tiny target for 957 to hit for the time being, but already 957 is happily stacking up health and absorbing this pressure into the top lane.
And so to your point, because the Cho'Gath is crucial in this game. As WE starts to scale up, they have Xayah, Rakan, and Cho'Gath, 3 picks that should do well in the later phases. But execution is the big word here because for TOP, they have a lot of flanks, so they come into those sites.
That's
Here's
a
one.
dive setup. They've managed to get Chocho. He had no flash. He had no chance. Cat is close to level 6.
Oh.
Flashes away, caught by the quickness. Stopwatch is used, but will almost certainly die. Mystic locks it down. A double kill, and suddenly that Xayah is 2-0-1.
There we go. I mean, they even had a great vision in the red side jungle to make that happen. Well played from WE, making the gank happen before 6, and now Ahri does have it a little bit too late.
Yeah, only just ticking over as the gank was happening, which is a bit of a tragedy. You can only click Control RR so fast, especially when you're already being CC'd. But now that's going to definitely accelerate that Xayah and make that bottom lane a little bit less safe as we take a look at that once again.
So here we start this one off, and you could see he was probably trying to just... it's unlucky. He dies right as he's going for the wave. So had they cleared the wave a little bit more quickly, maybe gotten more information on the dive beforehand with a defensive ward, would have been much easier to repel that gank. Didn't happen, so the Alistar wasn't going to be in position in time.
And this absolutely makes sense from Team WE. Kandi specifically focusing the bottom lane. Mystic has been playing remarkably well over these last few weeks. Finally seems to have gotten back into the momentum that helped him carry his team up to semifinals in Worlds. He's a very talented mechanical player. And the team playing around him has been where we've seen the disconnect for Team WE. So already tackling that issue in Game 1 against TOP after learning that lesson against Vici yesterday.
Far more decisive and paying more heed to the early game. I guess it's a good lesson when you're going up against Swift is to just be far more active so you don't find yourself falling behind. Now, he's in a better part of the jungle matchup. Trundle does well into Gragas. Sure, Gragas, once he gets full AP, right now has already got his Runic Echoes, then there is a point where Gragas can just get a nice burst across, but even still, if Kandi responds, then he has pressed the attack. What are you going to do versus that?
Yeah.
So he's just making use of the jungle matchup, just walks up aggressively. If I find Gragas, great. If I don't find Gragas, great. I'm going to go bottom lane.
Yeah, things looking real good. Though, as you said, there is a lot of mid-game burst out of TOP's composition. If they ever manage to group up, do WE allow that to happen and just try to extend these laning phases as long as possible?
I would say for WE, extending laning phases, I would say more often they should just have pushing lanes. They don't want the enemy composition to ever be grouped up in those positions or ever be free enough to look for flanks. Because flanks is what I'm worried about. Even though Xayah has her ulti, Rakan should be good safety measures. The worry here is that there's no one that can immediately save Mystic after he's used ultimate. Unless if you say Missing does that, but then he's not engaging anymore and then WE doesn't have engaged.
Yeah.
So then you put a massive question mark on Missing's position, or at least his role here in team fights. So Missing wants to start the fight. If that happens, then Ahri, Yasuo, Gragas, all of them can go flank.
Oh, and look at that. 957 steps up to the Rift Herald. It's at 1,400 health, but that Feast denies any chance for XX and Moyu to take it. Smite does a lot of damage. Not as much as Feast against a neutral objective, though. XX, he's still thinking about it.
He shouldn't. He lost way too much HP, and the full reset on Rift Herald is a job well done for WE.
Just denying that very early. That's almost a Dan Gaming style of play. As the Rift Herald spawns, they've already got people in the pit trying to burn through its health. Risky doesn't quite pay off this time, though it is fairly close.
It just comes down to the confidence of XX knowing that both his adjacent lanes are pushing. So as long as he gets a cleared out ward here, who's going to stop him on WE?
Oh, there's an engaged bottom lane. Missing looks for it. The Orb of Deception chases down as Missing flashes away. The Feather Storm, and the Orb of Deception does not come back as Missing walks it down. Mystic finds the kill onto Chocho and is able to outplay that Ahri.
Great, all in. Remember, Ahri doesn't have that much damage early on, so expending the flash to get on towards Ahri so he cannot escape. It's a safety lane, sure, but for Cat and Chocho in that situation, it's not going to work for them.
Now, TOP, they're trying the exact same thing, taking that Rift Herald for XX, but Kandi's already on the other side of the map with the push pressure bottom from Mystic and Missing. He's able to turn onto the Dragon. It's doing some damage, but XX has no chance of trying to counter that. And was even looking for a gank top as 957 went for a safe recall. That does mean Rift Herald is used, and TOP might be trying to break this map open very early as the top tier 1 looks to be first break.
So Gate responds. You can see that Kandi's not going to be in position to really get a real trade going unless they go for a mid lane dive, which it seems like they're positioning for. Actually, not at all. It's trying to take Raptors. So he is just caught off guard by the fact that the top lane Rift Herald was then inactive. So take a look at this because you can see it was an all-in started here by Cat, but there is no way Chocho is going to follow up. Doesn't even have the mana, honestly, for a longer fight. So just a poor decision on that front.
And all it starts is just from that CC, like you said, not enough mana to really chase it down. And though 2 flashes, I believe that's 2 flashes heal and an ignite were all burned just to get the flash out of Chocho. It does net the kill and will provide more pressure down into that bottom lane. And still not quite at the point where Chocho can one-shot the minion wave, so those are going to continue to stream in and slowly work away at that turret. As you can see the difference in gold between the two, Mystic is 1,200 gold ahead. Make that 13 as the wave clears out.
And the efficiency of Stormrazor just means that he's so far ahead in this matchup. Chocho should be at least happy that he got his Luden's Echo coming back to base, from base, and then has, let's say, his ultimate when all of the flashes have been expended by WE's bottom lane. So there's not going to be a chance where Chocho dies unless he makes a grand error in walking up in front of 2 to 3 feathers. So it's going to be easier for the stun to come. But that being said, Mystic missing, great point to play around if you're Kandi.
Already he's been taking his own advantages in that lane, despite Kandi's attempts earlier in the game. And now Kandi's starting to play towards this side of the map, setting up double control wards. He took that Ocean Dragon and is enabling Mystic to see success, but here comes the wave into the mid. Xie and Kandi might be roaming down for a dive.
Yeah, and this is going to be expected here. It's a weird game because they should be trading sides with Gnar being empowered, but you can see Gragas here to defend the Ahri and Alistar. Let's see if it pays off. Will be risky.
Quickness is back up for Missing. He doesn't have flash, and Chocho is hugging his turret in between these minion waves.
Oh, this is a nice
they're
trap.
actually stepping up. They've managed to get XX underneath them. You can see the pings, though Mystic is stepping up. Doesn't find the vision just yet. Like you said, they're setting up the traps.
Here's the worry here. If they go all in on Mystic is on his ability to just use his ulti immediately. So just a challenge on their mechanics.
They back it up as the wave comes in. The pillar is ready. Charm lands. Chocho uses the Spirit Rush, gets caught by Quickness. Grand Entrance, dashes back. Teleport from Moyu and 957 side by side. And they both cancel as the wards get cleared out.
That's WE winning out in that game. So, well done there. No Ahri ultimate. They can continue to push this, and it's on Gragas who's wasting time. So, Trundle is now getting more out of this, going straight towards either a camp or pressuring while Gragas is just sitting there until he sees Trundle leave. So there we go. You know that Trundle has left the entire bottom lane, so now he can make the move and doesn't have to defend bot.
Yeah, Corrin has been absolutely locked down in this mid lane as well, so there's even the roam threat of a LeBlanc. Classic LeBlanc. Actually did get reverted quite a while ago. What a champion that one is, and now Corrin finally gets the chance to push up this minion wave. Might be looking for just a bit of harassing damage onto Xie, but not too much as Chocho teleports in. There are feathers behind him. Quickness Grand Entrance. And the CC, as Mystic goes under the turret for it, Mystic dives and blocks down the kill, but here's XX, and remember,
Oh.
Mystic has no flash. They go 2 for 1 to pick it up. I mean, it's faster than recalling.
It definitely is. I mean, I didn't understand the teleport coming through. We already talked about it.
On the
Just-
minion wave, yeah.
Exactly. You just set up the feathers and it should be an easy fight to go for, but Cat does double down, so it works for them. Gragas was ready, so you know what? Nice bait. You are the bait of this team. It's like TOP's going
work out.
fishing and they're going straight to the bottom lane.
And Chocho is hanging on to the end of the line, like,
Yep.
guys, you sure?
Yeah, I'm
You
ready.
sure this is okay?
If you're telling me it's a good idea. Ugh.
Now he
Freshman at
does,
college.
he's got the Sork boots and looking to build up some more AP as Mystic is building up his own second item, looking for that crit. We've got another Ludens finished off for Shie as Phantom Dancer was finished for Korn. And TOP, they're trying to absorb pressure in this bottom lane with the Ahri, but Mystic alone is trying to work down the turret. Sorry, Mystic and Missing alone. Kandi, every time he roams down, all of his attempts have been stymied by XX, who is very successfully tracking that Trundle.
I think the mistake that WE is making here is that far too often they're trying for the kills rather than the tower. They need to speed up this game so Ahri doesn't get to a point where she has double magic penetration already working towards the orb. So at this point in time, if she's going for that, she's in a pretty decent spot. Speed up the game to make it awkward. So this is a good example here. Unfortunately, Ahri did get the better of that if you're WE. This is what happens when you're trying to make a solo play and you don't have a good idea where the enemy jungler is.
Uh-oh. Well, this time XX is trying to set up his top lane. While he does so, I'm not sure if he was spotted out by Vision from WE. That leaves the bottom tier 1 undefended, and it goes down. XX, he's still looking for this. That's a lot of help.
Lot of
957. Oh, yeah.
And Moyu doesn't, he's exhausted here, so he's not getting anything out of his rage bars. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Yeah, get out of there. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
957 is already so big with the Righteous Glory. He's nearly at 3,000 health as sub 20 minutes into the game. Chocho has been brought mid to try to collect this wave, perhaps to unlock Korn in a side wave. But that means that the dreaded LeBlanc Ahri matchup is starting to flood in for TOP, and WE are starting to take control. They've got a gold advantage as XX is there on the side. Mystic has got Flash, and he's got the Featherstorm. The wave getting cleared out.
Love to see how confident Mystic is in this situation. Hovering over his ultimate surely, because there's a lot of people that want him.
Oh, yeah.
Gragas' ultimate's one. Flash Headbutt Pulverize is not available, it just has to be a natural Headbutt Pulverize. Ahri's Charm, all of them are fairly easy to watch for, but there are way too many targets, so if he misses one, then that's pretty much it. And they lose a kill, lose a lot on the map, so WE is just saying, actually,
They rely on the outplay.
yeah, let's back up on this one.
And it pays off as, ooh, Korn gets another trade with Shie as is expected. Only 7 CS down as he's now taking jungle camps and is in that side lane to absorb some more pressure and try to match that LeBlanc later on. Looks like he's going for the Sterix second, but this side of the map is being completely controlled by WE. They just took their second dragon. They're pushing up to invade the red buff of XX.
And one thing to take note of this matchup, go looking towards a mid lane dive, Chocho might have the lead.
He's got Spirit Rush, uses it, gets out of the grand entrance, still eats a second knockup as he dashes away, but dies to the burn from that Trundle. Meanwhile, Battle Dance will get Missing to safety as the turret goes down. Successful dive and turret take.
Look, Chocho is just incredibly ambitious. Know that there are 3 people walking up to you. One of them is a Rakan. I understand you have ultimate, but you don't have to save it. So, saves his ultimate, saves his flash, dies. It's unfortunate because the rest of his team is going to be there soon enough.
Already, WE relying on Mystic to open things up. But now we gotta get to the important question.
Oh, tell me.
That we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the game. Can they protect him this time? We've seen so many times WE get an advantage off of Mystic, snowballing and just being a mechanically good laner, getting control of the mid game. But in team fights, he's classic AD carry. Sometimes his positioning, you raise a few questions about.
And I wouldn't even blame him if things go wrong, but because there's so few members of his team that are essentially walking front to back. It's going to be Trundle, Cho'Gath, Rakan perhaps. LeBlanc should be coming through flanks, and if the LeBlanc's coming through flanks, if Missing is trying to engage in a fight, as I mentioned, not a lot of people are looking to protect them, and he's a mid-ranged AD carry, so don't know. That's a big I don't know.
That's a we're gonna find out
Yes.
question.
Because while Chocho is far behind this game, his job is fairly simple. It's
Clear
the
waves.
most linear job I've... Well, clear
Quick-
waves.
And hit
sure.
charms.
And hit charms on Mystic if possible. Try and scare him. be the troll in a team fight. You know you're not going to kill him, but you know you're going to make his life incredibly difficult.
Corn dashes out. Ooh, that's the cask, but Xie flashes away after using the distortion. Corn, he's starting to get some stacks built up. XX misses the body slam. There's ults onto 2 from Corn, but it's Condi and 957, 2 massive tanks. Here comes the rest of the team. Another knockup lands as 957 gets pulled back in, but Missing and Mystic join in. XX from the side. Jojo misses the charm, but he's able to get some damage onto Missing. Charm from the side. XX stalls it, and Condi and Xie will find a kill, dropping Corn. It's all up to XX, but he's already dead, and that's a flash knockup from Cat. He's able to find 1 kill, but it's 3 versus 3 now as TOP are split on 3 sides. Good damage from XX, the pillar on the wrong side, while Mystic chases down a kill. Condi heals up off of a ward, and Xie is on the hunt. Just an auto attack to find it. Mystic again with the surrender flag and the Pengu dab.
Look, that being said, fantastic flank coming through from Mystic and Missing. Baron is going to be easy for them with Mystic being above 80% HP. So, strong fight, strong result. WE have such a phenomenal lead now. Oh, wait a second!
Oh no!
Okay.
Whoops.
So, if your AD carry has that much HP, you might want him to start tanking near the end of that. They didn't really have a conversation about it. They just had faith that it wouldn't really kill him.
And tragically, it's not so much having faith that Baron wouldn't kill you, it's having faith that Baron does so much damage. Because again, he stacks up the debuff.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
What's it called? The Caustic Spittle? Here we get to see that fight again. All right, it all starts from XX chasing Xie down. Corn thinks he's got the tanks.
Number advantage for TOP to start, so that's why it looked so good from TOP going front to back, taking down the Cho'Gath. But then you can see AD carry coming through from behind. Mystic is super strong here, and it's just still XX and Chocho dealing with him. TOP didn't change targets, so it was just really a large waste of time for the majority of the TOP members while they were just getting shredded to pieces.
Just the chase down from Mystic under the turret. Who cares about turret shots when you can get the kill? And of course, XX will get that final shot on the backside onto Xie as Mystic with the flag. Love it! Absolutely love it. WE, they're back at the pit though, 23 minutes in. Not so much looking for the Baron, but looking for a fight instead. They found Cat, he's baited in, hook, line, and sinker, and WE gobble that kill up.
At this point, TOP doesn't know who to lead with in this fight. It should be XX since he is the Gragas, but no real innate HP based off of the build that he has. Should mean TOP just walks away from all of this. We'll have to see if Corn is going to be their last line of defense.
XX body slams over the wall, that's on cooldown as the charm misses. A control ward into the pit, giving vision of that Baron's health. That's the pillar as Missing goes in. Corn drops it, the cast goes wide. Missing dancing around wildly. Sets up for his team. Jojo lands the charm, but Baron picked up. Forced the Spirit Rush back to safety. Meanwhile, in Moyu land.
That's the life of Moyu.
And just headbutting the turret. Breaks it down! 400 gold!
So, TOP incredibly ambitious once again, trying to challenge a Baron team with Cho'Gath. That's a lot of damage they can put it immediately, so really they're just trying to slow them down for Moyu to take the bottom lane tower, but they lost so much off of it. The Alistar on that one, Corn ends up dying. Great charms from Missing, getting the engage. This is the benefit of having such a hard, easy flash engage from the Rakan there, so nice to see it.
Answers the age-old question, who is more charming, Rakan or Ahri?
This game, it's definitely Rakan.
Yeah, there you go. As Missing is just landing so many quickness grand entrances. Setting up for his team in such a strong way. You can see the gold difference, 4,000 gold advantage for Mystic over Jojo. Meanwhile, Corn, he's sitting about, what is that, 1,500 gold behind Xie. Things are looking a little bit scary for the carries of TOP as now an Infernal Dragon is picked up by the WE composition. This was supposed to be a late game team comp. We're 24 or 25 minutes in, and they're already scaling up to 3 items.
Look, they have late game as parts of it, but the LeBlanc, the Trundle, all of these are still early game points. So remember, I'm not saying that like they have late game elements, but they should definitely be attacking through LeBlanc. He's having a great game this time around, and especially with the bottom lane being so far ahead. XX is fishing, but it's really hard to get anything up if you don't have your ult.
Wave is getting cleared out. Moyu's ready. Body slam prepared, and now they cut away. Why would they cut away?
That's what happens in movies. You're about to find out.
I think that's why they cut away, is Corn steps to the side as the wave comes crashing in. Cat eats a pillar of filth as he can't find entryway into this lane, and the turret's slowly getting chipped down.
a lot of eyes are going to be on Xie here because TOP wants to start a fight, but WE should always be an arms width away, knowing that LeBlanc is getting so much in the opposite map. So right now, tower should be taken down by Xie here, while TOP expends a lot of members trying to defend mid.
He's pushing, and he takes down the bottom tier 2 with that side lane. TOP show a few members and immediately collapse mid, taking yet another tier 2. 5 turrets to 3 right now, a 5,000 gold advantage for WE. 957 thinks that he can break this, starts attacking the turret, and they are able to get a lot of work down onto this. Still have to be afraid of the crowd control combo from TOP, but maybe not so concerned about the damage right now.
So one thing to make note of, if WE consistently, if they stick to this play, angles here for Xie to just bounce on over the wall and get damage across on either Chocho and Corn and try and expend the wind wall. Corn's wind wall is crucial here. If he wastes it, then it makes it so 957 can just walk up forward and they can try and dive through the tower.
They've got Xie split pushing on another tier 2, and he breaks it down with 30 seconds left on the Baron. And WE, this is the WE that I think we wanted to see coming into Summer Split. Not the pale facsimile that they have been. Decisive, quick with Baron, snowballing off of Mystic's laning phase, taking tier 2 turrets through aggressive rotations and playing the map, escorting minion waves in to get full effectiveness out of this Baron buff as soon as possible. I don't know what happened to WE against Vici yesterday, but this looks like a completely different team, though their early game wasn't quite as polished, with Condi getting effectively denied by XX. They're playing through their lanes, and it seems to be paying off.
Remember, they've been in Xi'an through both of those games, so going back to the game house and having that long discussion of why it went so wrong between two 7th place teams, it's a definite constructive discussion to have.
Yeah.
So, night and day. Light You know what? That
Yeah.
would be fine to say that in China. Be on
Yeah,
light and day.
yeah.
So for this one, night and day with performance from WE, we'd have to see if it's a consistent play throughout the entire series. Because having a one-off here, that's something WE has done. In fact, they've been
Flash
able
in
to
the pan,
take
yeah.
down Invictus Gaming in one game during a series, throughout a 3-game series. Now remember, it ain't net North America, ULCS. You can't just take
We're
that
best
one.
of 3.
Yep, can't take that one win and run. So it's for WE to A, finish this game off, and then come in to the proper mindset of game 2.
We'll see what that's going to be, as it's a
Oh.
flash, pulverized headbutt, and the knockup at maximum distance. Mystic takes to the skies with the Feather Storm. He's prepping it around as Missing goes in for a 3-man taunt, trying to dance around with that battle dance. Xie looking to join the fight, but 5 members of TOP are already here. Moyu not with Mega, as a knockup will land. Xie is chasing from the side, knows he hasn't been spotted. There he goes. But the charm will get tossed out. Xie steps up, chains, finds Cat. But WE are able to get out with their lives through a successful cleanse flash from Mystic.
Yeah, without even landing much of the combo, Chocho loses 30% HP. It's on TOP to waste time until their cooldowns come back up, and they can try at Mystic once again. Mystic will have his ultimate, but he won't have his summoners that he expended to get out of that situation.
Now Xie's on the
Okay.
side. Look at the damage! Absolutely destroys Jojo and makes it out alive. Battle Dance keeps him safe, as the wind wall was used to clear out the minion wave, but it's 5 versus 4. Moyu's and Mega. The moment that's gone, the go button has been lit for Team WE.
My boy CA finishes the job.
Oh yeah.
That's insane. He knew how much damage his Alt W did. He was like, wait a minute, if that part of the combo just finishes about that much of your HP, if I just use my full combo, you're dead.
That's some quick maths.
So
that
he
was
just
doing
went right
there.
for it. Really well done from him. I mean, this is the threat of the LeBlanc that far ahead.
That's the quickness entrance as they engage onto Korn. He's been silenced and effectively denied entrance to the fight. Meanwhile, Mystic has just been firing so much. Xie with a flash over the wall. Moyu follows, but a distortion. It will be able to get the kill with an auto attack chase, but it's peanuts, because right now WE have taken the inhibitor in the mid lane, and there is a minion wave prep bottom. This is a bit risky, as Mystic will need to be escorted out of here.
Good defense. Moyu is so close to Maganar. In fact, hitting the ward, he will get here.
Korn steps up, uses a stopwatch. That's the wind wall. Mystic has got no flash in this one. Gets locked up by a huge last breath. Is kiting it out as best he can, but is still alive. His bodyguards of 957 and Condi allow him to finish off Korn.
It sucks for Moyu. He didn't have his flash. Used it in the prior team fight. He was managing his rage bar properly, but when the fight finally started, the second half of it, didn't have the ability to just flash on top of Mystic, someone they need to get on top of, because he doesn't have his summoner. But if they had used it, they could have gotten the kill. Didn't have much HP. but just healed right back up since he was able to just go front to back. So right now, WE, their backline is way too strong.
Oh yeah, and their front line, and their mid line. It's a 9,000 gold advantage for Team WE as we get to take a look at that. What is the damage?
I was wondering which replay they were going to show because all of those replays are super ahead, or at least in favor of WE. That one's just a flashy one. He got on top of Chocho. You can see how far behind Chocho is.
Only criticism is that he didn't drop an emote as he was going over the wall, because suddenly a Pengu appears out of nowhere. WE are turning onto the Baron right now. XX is behind the pit. It's at 4,000 health. Places a control ward. They know that he's there. Pillar is ready. The cast separates them. That's the grand entrance, and Baron secured as 957 gets the feast for even more stacks.
I liked what Gragas was looking for, though. XX throwing out the Gragas cast, not just for the damage, but also trying to misplace Cho'Gath. So if he found it at a decent amount of damage, you can just Gragas.
Head over the wall, try to go for the smite body slam.
I liked it. A few times people have used Taliyah ultimate to do the exact same thing. In this case, not going to work. So WE running through.
Now we're seeing some good damage from Chocho hitting Condi as he lands those charms and orbs of deception. Xie again just chases that Ahri back. I believe that was the Spirit Rush used defensively by Chocho as Baroned up minions are starting to stream in. Look at what Xie is just doing. Chipping away at the health of Team WE. Moyu will step up, pop into Mega. He doesn't have flash, but he does have the big slam as the cannon minion starts to work down the wave, and supers are still flooding down mid.
By the time the wave hits this tower, Moyu will not be in Mega Gnar ulti, so they don't really have a strong amount of engage. It's going to be on XX to start it off.
Now that's the wind wall to help defend the turret. Xie steps up, he tags onto Moyu. The wave gets cleared out. Mystic is just working Corn down on the side. And the turret's still standing, but here come the Baroned up super minions.
And this is the real problem here. Xie finally leading in the mid lane wave through, so now that they've gotten the top lane wave coming up, they have to worry about LeBlanc coming out of the flank. They're even stacking up the wave. Super well done. The only problem here is that mid lane wave will not come through at the same time. It's going to be a little bit late.
Corn is again stepping up with Moyu to clear this out, like you said. The wave's not perfectly timed. They know that 957 isn't there as they see him clearing a wave bottom side, but he has teleport and can very easily join in. Plus there are some teleport wards as wow. They actually managed to catch Xie. He looks for an assassination, but eats a last breath. They found missing. He battle dances once and Xie distorts back out. That is a slippery combo to try to lock down.
Yeah, but at least now Yasuo doesn't have his ulti. If you're WE, you're like, we'll take those. Let's go.
The charm almost hits Xie, but Missing goes in, sees that it's gone, and he's able to find the first kill as XX drops down. Mystic kiting it out, and 957 so tanky. He teleported to join in with his team. Corn walking it back to the fountain itself as it's a double kill for the AD carry of WE. And they finish off the inhibitor.
They're always so close to OP, but they can never really get the kill in these engages. They have one final chance here.
Moyu's back into Mega. He doesn't have the ultimate. That's the wind wall, but the next wave is coming in, and it's a super minion. Mystic is already found Moyu and is chasing him back to the fountain. They find the kill onto Corn as this is the last stand from TOP, but the stand will not be enough. 20 kills to 7. WE take game 1.
And it's not Chocho's finest hour going up against Mystic and him getting this blasted. But now you have to know you're in game 2 mode. Think about the next one. Don't even think about what happened early on in this game. It was WE cleanly, strong performance from the carries of Mystic and Xie.
With that, WE get the chance to make their way backstage, and you can already see Condi is leading his team as he and Missing put up such a strong wall with 957 to allow the carries to absolutely pop off. But like you said, positive mental attitude has such a strong impact on how these players perform on any given day. We've seen what it can do for Team WE once they get some momentum against Vici. We've seen what it can do for Vici when they get momentum on the opposite side. We'll have to see if TOP have got the mental fortitude to recover in this series.
Yeah, you know WE after that win. Strolling onto the back, no hurry at all. It's not like when you take those losses and you rush off to the back because you know there's going to be a lot to talk about. You can just imagine WE going in the back saying, I don't really have to say too much about that. Felt good to me, coach. How about you? Maybe the coach comes in and says, well, maybe one thing about that bottom lane. I don't like you guys engaging from that first kill that happened, that Missing lost his life. That's all I've got to say. You guys have your thing. You guys go back out there. Because at that point, it felt like WE, specifically Condi, understood how the map was playing out. understood that 957 had no problems top lane, even if he was getting bullied by 2 people. Just go straight bottom lane. How about Mystic? Shea already was doing well in his matchup, so it was very clean on his end because he was just focused on the target at hand, and it was bottom lane.
Yeah, Mystic was able to set up that bottom lane quite easily as just constantly pushing into the Ahri, knowing how to dodge the charms, and missing, though he did tank a few shots early on, trading his life over to snowball Mystic ahead. It ended up paying off because Mystic, as we saw, was doing massive damage by the end of the game. You talked about him playing that mid-range carry on Xayah. Well, put a close-range Cho'Gath just in front of that, and you don't really need anything else. But even so, they still had the Trundle. They still had that Rakan for engage on top of that. So WE draft themselves a strong composition, play it down to a T, and it pays off.
And I think the compositions, for me at the very least, didn't mean too much because I did enjoy TLP's comp. Issue is when you go into mid game and Ahri has negative damage.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And then you go into some of these mid game team fights and they start to get played out poorly. I like the top lane fight was my favorite one just because you can see, oh, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Producer. So the top lane fight ends up happening and it starts very well for TOP. And you're like, this is great. What do you actually have to say here, Raz? But he starts off, the kill comes through from Cho'Gath. But when Missing and Mystic start off, the rest of the 3 from Korn, Cat, and Moyu all in on the rest of those 2. Why? This is a communication point because you know the primary target is Mystic. Mystic already smashed your bottom lane, has Storm Razors and a then some. So you need to just look for him, focus him down, and those 2 aren't going to protect Mystic alone. So it was a unfortunate opportunity there where it felt like TOP could have won that fight completely. They had the start, they had the middle, could have had the end, but they let it run away from them.
Yeah, and again, that was TOP looking at the communication for this team. Again, we call them the Feasible 5 because it's finally this 5-man that has been showing up so consistently.
Yeah.
But look at their roster. They've got Goong, they've got Lies in the top lane, they've still got Marin on the bench as well.
Yes.
And you have to wonder if it's these 5 that are playing in scrims that are playing so consistently on stage, shouldn't the communication be getting better in these tense
From TOP,
moments?
yeah, sure. And I think debatably it's gotten better because TOP, if we're comparing them from Spring Split, have gotten so much better. I think that it's gotten better comparatively throughout Split, but throughout this Split alone, you're right, in that in this game it kind of declined in how those team fights were actually working out for them. So that's why they have a lot to talk about when they go in the back, because that was a definite moment where there were split calls. And so it's hard to really manage those exact moments because it happens so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, you see if one person in mind, XX in this case, has eyes on Mystic, he's probably making a call to just go on top of him. But obviously the rest of the cast are already moving on to the next kill. So it happened so quickly that they were like, yeah, you're right about that play. It's just unfortunate how it played out. So for TOP going into game 2, it's simple and easy in terms of when we find those fights, stick to them and also just don't play poorly in lane.
Yeah, and the person who did play successfully in lane was, of course, Mystic. He'll take our MVP for that Game 1 performance on Xayah, just running people down by the end of the game. 10, 1, and 7. 47% of his team's damage.
Yeah, he was doing
Real
well. 10, 1, and 7. I mean, the early portions of the game was just him having a fun time. Storm Razors early on is a hell of a
pretty strong
build. I mean, it's a great power spike to have, and it felt like Condi recognized it early. Playing to that bottom lane early. There we have it. Good job, Mystic. And I thought that Mystic, if he's playing this well, this consistently, and sure, right now there are 3 wins and 3 series wins, it's TOP that has to be sweating. Remember, TOP and Snake are right now, in terms of, if you're looking at 4th place, are on the chopping block. So for both of those teams, knowing that Team WE is actually a bit of on a surge, starting to really get things moving on, and that the Western Conference itself is actually very unpredictable because EDG's on their loss streak, so really ripe for the pickings, that they can actually start their role now, and it's TOP and Snake that are going to be the victims of that.
Yeah, between 2nd place and 7th place, it is 4 games. If WE win this, it will be 3 games between 2nd place and 7th place for the Western Conference. That's not a situation that the winningest team in League of Legends history wants to be in right now. 7 and 6 for this loss streak, but still, like you said, TOP, they're right in the middle of the pack. If they're able to take this win, they can tie up with EDG. What are we looking for TOP to change coming into game 2?
Bottom lane immediately. I know that they saved a lot and the strategy was pertaining to that bot lane. And I'm not going to say don't pick Ahri in that situation. That was a strategy that must have been working in their own scrims. It's just that if you recognize you're going to be playing on the back foot, then play on the back foot. I think a lot of the times Chocho just saved his summoners, saved his ultimate until he needed to do so, when you should just use it early, have the HP to stay in lane. That's why he died a lot, or he was ready for, to get dived a lot. So I think that played differently.
Well, we'll get to see if the coach can adapt to that and make that change himself. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get that 2-game ready. Don't go anywhere. LPL will be right back.
过去的荣光就留在记忆中 ，WE 要追逐新的胜利。